This is a review of the 7 Artisans 50mm f1.8 autofocus lens for Sony E-mount cameras. This lens has a very interesting optical formula. It has 11 elements in 9 groups. That's quite a complex design, so it seems that every effort has been made to optimize optical performance in this lens. This is a design that gives very good contrast and resolution with some very nice background blur. It's a nicely made lens constructed largely of metal. It's very nicely finished with a soft matte surface and it feels nice in the hand. There are both focus and aperture rings on this lens. They turn very smoothly with a firm feeling, and this lens feels like a high quality piece of kit. It comes with a hood that reverses and stows on the front of the lens when not in use. With a reasonably fast f1.8 maximum aperture, this lens promises to make plenty of the blurry stuff, and it doesn't disappoint. At its minimum focus distance of 50 centimeters, the lens makes some very soft blur, giving a very nice feel to images. The nature of the blur doesn't change much either. It stays soft and lovely as distances between camera, subject and background change. And it's here we can see the influence of that very complex optical design coming into play. Blur from this lens is consistently smooth. It makes blur that's reliably soft right throughout the range, and I couldn't find a point where it becomes rough and unruly, even with a lot of close straight lines in the background, a test for any lens. That lovely soft blur is counterpointed by the sharpness of the subject. This is a very sharp lens from wide open, and at f1.8 it gives a good sharp image in the center of the frame, although sides and corners are a little softer. It tightens up as it's stopped down. At f5.6 it's very sharp, and by f8 it's sharp across the frame. Bubbles from point light sources are circular in the center, turning gradually to cat's eye shapes as we go further from the center. This lens has 11 aperture blades, so you won't see any octagons or hexagons as you stop down, just smooth bokeh bubbles. When you shoot wide open, there's quite a bit of vignetting from this lens, and shooting against a light background means that corners will appear darkened. This is not necessarily always a bad thing, and it can be an interesting aesthetic tool, but if you don't like it, it's easy enough to remove in post. There is some chromatic aberration, and in certain situations it can make itself apparent. Again, if it bothers you, it's easy enough to remove in post. Just like any lens, this one will flare in bright sunlight if the sun catches it at the wrong angle. However, it doesn't do it very readily or easily, and that speaks very well for the lens coatings. This lens resists flaring well, and it happens only after some provocation. This is a very nice lens that can make some fantastic images. It's very nicely made with a high quality feel and a complex optical formula that promises some outstanding images. This is a lens that's been designed with image quality as the first priority, and that's what's really important here. A very nice 50mm f1.8 from 7 Artisans.